come once again to discuss things.
Alright, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Super2. Joining me today is Steve Baxi and Connor Nielsen. Hello, Steve Baxi and Connor Nielsen.
Howdy.
Hello, Ian.
Yeah. So Connor was just asking about the topic, just to clarify, and instead of clarifying for him and giving him time to consider and craft his opinion while we wait on someone, I'm just going to decide to jump right into it. So the topic today is whether or not criticism has gotten too harsh, what are people's expectations. And so the thing that brought this topic on, this is something kind of Steve and I seem to be on the same wavelength with, so mark your calendars, everybody. Go outside, check for a solar eclipse. This is something Steve and I seem to be on the same wavelength with, which is that, yeah, people have gotten way too harsh. And my thing with it is one day, ladies and gentlemen, a movie that I am looking forward to will come out, and it will receive positive critical reception. Because that shit hasn't happened in 6 years. And I'm getting real sick of it. So that's what brought this on for me. How about you, Steve?
Well, we talked about it through Ratchet and Clank, which was my big thing, which is it's not a great movie, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't understand why people are vehemently angry that they didn't like the movie, and it turns into overly harsh reviews. Like, there's a fine line between letting minor issues ruin an experience and letting minor issues destroy an entire film. And it seems like we've gotten to a place where, especially with that movie, where we just want to look for everything wrong for just because. Mm-hmm. And I just don't feel like it deserves as much hate as it's getting. I'm not saying it's a great movie or maybe even a good movie, but really people saying it's one of the worst animated films ever? There's no way.
Shit.
There's no way. I mean, come on. Have people seen the Shrek sequels?
Have people seen Kong, King of the Apes?
Have people seen Norm of the North? Which
really.
And it's interesting because, Connor, you haven't done an off the cuff, but I know from your comment that you did not like Ratchet and Clank. But do you feel it is one of the worst animated movies ever?
No, I mean, I really did not like Ratchet and Clank. One might say I hated Ratchet. It is not one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It isn't one of the worst animated movies. It's competently animated. Certain elements look a lot cheaper than others, but what are you going to do about that? I mean, to me, it was just everything I don't like about kids' movies. It's just this loud, obnoxious, anything that could potentially be clever is just jump down your throat 3 times in a row, so just in case you didn't get the joke, we have to repeat it 3 times. Kind of that How I Met Your Mother form of comedy, and then I felt like it was just loud and shrill and obnoxious.
Well, this isn't a Ratchet and Clank review. You missed out on the opportunity for that.
I know, and I felt like my senses were being assaulted for an hour and a half. But I mean, okay, but I do understand the critical backlash against it. Like, it's a bad movie, so it got bad reviews. And
yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. I think it's just an okay movie. But what I don't understand is why it's getting just shat on like it's offensive.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Awful. Like, I don't have a thing against bad reviews. I have a thing against reviews that are unnecessarily angry about a thing.
Well, I guess the reviews I read or watch aren't that way. So I don't know. Maybe
you're luckier than us, then. Yeah.
Well, what kind of reviews do you watch and or read?
Well, I watch just a lot of stuff. My go-to review, if Geekvolution or whatever didn't do one, is I just Google, or not Google, but I just YouTube search reviews of blank, and I'll check out some of the top results. And I think that's a good way to just get a general consensus of what, like, some of the more popular opinions of a thing are. And so when I read when I'm watching reviews like that, and people are just like, "Oh, it's so fucking awful. It's one of the worst." Like Jeremy Jahns. He opened his review of that movie with, "There's hope for video game movies because World of Warcraft is coming out next month," and I'm like, "Well, that's a shitty way to start your review." And he goes on about how it's awful. And I'm like, just where are you getting that it's awful from? I get that you don't enjoy it. I get that it's really basic. I can understand criticisms like that. What I cannot understand is why it's offensive or why it's so bad that you shouldn't even like waste your time on it. I don't understand where that kind of level of negativity for something that is just borderline okay basic popcorn. Like, when did everything have to be Citizen Kane? I don't know when that happened. But I feel like that's what people demand. I watch reviews for that movie and people are like, "Oh, it's such shit animation compared to great things like Zootopia." I'm like, it's not trying to be fucking Zootopia. So I cannot wrap my head around that level of criticism.
Well, if I remember what you guys had said at the end of the last episode of Geeky Gentleman, was that you felt like there's no middle ground?
Yeah.
Everything's either really low or really high.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be the greatest thing. Like, people go into a movie expecting it to be the greatest thing they've ever seen in their entire lives, a world-changing event that will shape the rest of their life, or if it's not that, then it's complete garbage, and you should demand your money back and insult the studios and file Twitter campaigns against the actors or whatever.
Okay. That's, I don't think I see that, but, I do understand that when you, like, say, oh, Rotten Tomatoes, there's a lot of 20% and lower, like 30% and lower, and then 80% or higher. There's not a lot of 70% or 50%. I mean, then, of course, as I'm thinking about this topic, we have X-Men Apocalypse, which is currently sitting at 57%. Then we have Money Monster, which is currently sitting at 60%. So those middle ground movies are still there, but I guess they just don't get as much exposure because when people have extreme reactions to something, people like to talk about that, and people like to consume extreme reactions or just extremeness in general, for lack of a better term. Like, when you, like, let's say there's somebody who's like, I didn't really like it. People get bored by that. And I'm not saying that, it's a good or bad thing, but people do get bored by that. So when somebody's like, "Oh my God, I loved it," people go, "Oh, they really liked it, so I should watch it too." And then there's a kind of like a get out mentality of, I need to love it too.
There is an element of sensationalism. You're definitely right about that. Because I remember when Civil War got its review embargo lifted, it was at 100% for a while now, and the first wave of 5 to 10 negative reviews, most of those reviewers have come out and said the reason they said they think it's an awful movie is because they wanted to improve traffic on their sites.
And that's just, at that point,
Wow.
You're not reviewing anymore, right?
Yeah, but it certainly proves Connor's point of, like, people want the extreme reaction because it captures the audience before it's about the content itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just find that aggravating to listen to people, like, because at that point, don't call yourself a reviewer. At that point, don't call what you're doing a review because you're not being fair to the piece.
Right.
And, I guess maybe I'm reacting to this because I kind of had this happen to me. Let me first say, I was genuinely offended and genuinely visceral and hated this piece of media. And I will stand by all of the points that I made in this video of mine, but I will admit I should have not made them in that way. I should have made them with more tact. Scott Snyder's Endgame is one of the worst Joker stories, one of the worst Batman stories, one of the worst comic book stories I've ever read. I hate that thing with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. It's awful in every way in my mind. But I will admit, when I reviewed that, I did get overly emphasized on things. I did get, like, overly exaggerated because I thought people would find it entertaining. And then seeing the creator of the thing watched my video and commented on it was like this, whoa, moment for me. And so I guess when I see professional, quote-unquote, reviewers doing that, I just kind of scratch my head. I'm like, how do you ever expect anyone to take you seriously when you do legitimately feel this way? Or how do you expect to have the respect of anyone in Hollywood for your opinion when you treat films like this?
It's a fine line, right? Because a part of a review is always going to be what your emotional reaction to something is, and if at times it can exaggerate the points you're making, but that's still a statement on the piece itself. Like, that's kind of what I do with Arrow. Like, my Arrow reviews at this point are, I'm just stopping and making fun of it at every opportunity that I get, and I kind of compound the nonsensical stuff forward because I think it's more fun that way. But that is ultimately the point of reviewing that show now, which is it's so complicated and it's so convoluted and it's so bad that the only way to have fun is to laugh at it. And so that gets reflected in the reviews. At the same time, though, that's very different than acting like your ethics and your soul have been crushed or insulted by something. And I've only had that reaction 2 times ever when it comes to movies. The first time was God's Not Dead. The second time was Batman vs. Superman.
You know what I want to see? I want to make a list of, like, movies that people have to do commentaries for, and Steve Baxi has to do God's Not Dead 1 and 2.
There'll be lots
well, I
of
watched the second one, so, man, yeah. You should totally watch the second one, Steve.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
want
I watched
Captain Logan to do all of the Human Centipede movies. And he has to be very family-friendly Captain Logan the whole time.
What's that?
Well,
will you do God's Not Dead if Cap does that? Anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember when I didn't really know Steve's style all that well, and I just watched his Spectre review, and he seemed to, like, loathe that movie more than, like, anything on the planet. And, like, I don't think Spectre's a particularly remarkable movie, but I think it's fine. It has some really good action scenes. It's very excellently crafted, and I like it for 2 hours. And the last complete mess and kind of a disaster, and it kind of makes a very unsatisfying ending, but for 2 hours I'm having a good time, so I'm like, it's whatever overall. I've seen worse James Bond movies, and his response was very angry, and my first initial reaction of Steve was like, oh, he's just over sensationalizing this, and then as I've watched more of his reviews, I do see how he usually is. So I think it's become such a common occurrence that it immediately when I initially watch somebody get really passionate about how they felt during a movie, that if it's overly passionate, I don't really take them very seriously, and I have to, watch more of their stuff to try back any kind of credibility.
It is one of those things, too, where, like we've talked about a franchise like James Bond. James Bond's one of those things that I've loved ever since I was a kid, so reviews to that, no matter how good or bad or average the movie is, will always be a little bit more extreme, at least on my end. And then you go back and you watch reviews of something I do like say, It Follows, or the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street, and since I only have casual relationships with horror, they're a lot more calm. And so, again, the way you review something is reflective of how you felt about the piece on a whole. But then, like I said before, it's just a matter of making sure that doesn't intrude upon the nature of the points you're making. Like, you can't get ridiculously angry and over the top about a nitpick.
Yeah, we were nitpicking things here and there with the Earth 1 books last week.
Yeah.
And, those aren't our biggest problems with the things. Those are like, okay, now I know this is stupid, but hear me out.
Yeah.
Why is this a thing? Is like our nitpicks with that. And I don't know, man. It just seems really weird to me. Like, do you feel that I'm onto something that people are treating things where, like, everything has to be Citizen Kane?
I wouldn't go that far, but when we are in an age where, if we're talking about movies anyways, in critical response, the movie tickets are going higher and higher and higher. And people's movie-going experiences are getting more and more unsatisfying. I know this because I work at a movie theater, and any time, like there'll be times where the ticket prices hasn't even changed, and I'll recognize somebody, and they say, "Oh my gosh, the prices have gone up," and immediately they're already angry, and they haven't gone up. They just think it's gone up, and then so they're already in a bad mood. And then you have the one douchebag who's texting on their phone, or the person who's, you didn't pay $10 to hear somebody's commentary of a movie. Like, I know, like the 3 times I've seen Civil War, somebody has to talk. Why? I know Black Panther's the coolest thing since sliced bread. I know that, but you don't have to let me know, because I already know that. But,
there was so much of that. I saw that movie in theaters 6 times, every time people had to talk during Black Panther scenes.
It was driving me up a wall. I mean, like, part of it was, like, the first time I saw it was kind of cool. Like, there was a black family right behind me who just, like, hearing, like, little black kids, like, seeing a black superhero to identify with was actually a genuinely cool, like, thing to be in a movie theater with.
Oh yeah, was it Falcon or was it fucking War Machine?
Hey, Milan. It was Black Panther.
Hey, how you doing, man? Surprise.
Surprise should be a thing now.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Stevie, how are you, my intelligent Indian friend?
Hey, man.
Connor. Yeah,
What up?
Connor with his trench coat and mafia hairdo, and Ian, Ghost Rider with an afro. Okay, that's cool.
Yep, Ghost Rider with an afro is my picture.
My picture
I
is my...
discovered that by accident while working on a video or an animation for Steve.
Back in the days when I was doing those Ghost Rider retrospectives.
Yeah. I was trying to like make Ghost Rider to have the firehead thing, and I was like playing with Maya presets, and I was like, "Oh, son, maybe that'll work." And it just happened, and it was like perfectly positioned and everything already. It was hilarious. Anyway. Connor, you were saying about having people being more critical of the theater experience.
Well, so I remember when The Hateful Eight was playing in our theater, and it's like a 3-hour movie. So this family came up, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's $10 for a ticket!" And so they're already angry. Then they have to go buy concessions, which are like really expensive, but that's the only way we make our money. So then they have to shell out like $20 for popcorn and drinks and stuff, right? And then, so they're already angry that they're spending this much money, and now they have to spend 3 hours watching a movie. Like, I know, $10 for 3 hours a movie, oh, that's a great value. But people get tired of watching a movie for 3 hours, especially, if it's a very talky movie, like a Hateful Eight, which I love that movie, but I noticed those people walking out of the theater, and they said, "That is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life." So
what's with all talking, bro? Like what the fuck?
They didn't start killing each other till like 3/4 through the movie. What was up with that? But
Samuel Jackson did get his balls blown off. That was kind of cool.
So, I mean, I don't think like people want things to be Citizen Kane. They just want what they, at least I'm not talking about critics. I'm talking about general audience members. They just want what, just like a cookie cutter, generic thing. Like, I think Deadpool's good. I think it's a good movie, but everyone lost their mind over that movie. And it was a very average movie to me. So, I think people just want to be entertained more than anything. And if they're not entertained, then they get angry about things.
The thing is, the Deadpool movie was just kind of like everyone's favorite 16-year-old fantasy. Like, it's a ninja that can heal and he makes dick jokes. And he's schizophrenic. Hooray! I have somebody to associate with. Yay. But anyway, fucking yeah, that was everyone. It's because of the kids, man. The kids love them Deadpool, Like, it's R-rated. It has fucking and Ryan, what's his name? The handsome
Ryan
guy
Reynolds
gets
pegged by his girlfriend.
Yes. What a beautiful moment. What a glorious.
I never thought I'd see a superhero get pegged by his girlfriend in a live action movie.
It's a great day for cinema. It's a great day for cinema.
The fags that are pushing their liberal agenda down our throats. Or up our butts, whichever you prefer.
Way to describe that. I just like the way they did that. It's just wonderful. What a vivid imagination they got.
Yeah. Anyway, so Connor, I'd agree that people want more for. I think part of it's attention span. I think Boston Legal made a great point in one of their final episodes that that TV, at least, is being made for the texting generations now. That you have to be able to follow it without having to follow it. You have to be able to follow it while tuning in and out. And so they make it younger and younger to just get your mind to be immediately attracted to it. So the only shows that have older actors are shows like in Boston Legal, he's giving this exact speech, and then he stops, and the judge looks at him and is like, "Go on." And he's like, "Sorry, Your Honor, there's a wall here." So they made a fourth wall joke in Boston Legal that I thought was funny. No, but so you do have a shorter attention span generation that's dealing with things now. And I mean, I gotta admit, even I have that. I have a hard time going back to old movies because just fundamentally, their pacing is not our pacing. It's harder to watch. You have to make a genuine effort to watch an older style movie these days because you're just spoiled by lightning pacing.
I grew up in fucking Russian cinema. The pacing there is fucking... They don't give a shit. You will sit and you will watch the movie.
So that's where you got the pacing for your motion comics. But
yeah, pretty much, yeah. I feel them like a fucking European fucking movie. Fuck you.
Yeah. Anyway, no, so like you have more modern pacing and so people expect that, but that doesn't, but like, I don't think that applies to critics. Critics should be able to go into something and recognize what it is trying to do, and to some extent, not always, but to some extent, judge it on what it is trying to do.
Can I play devil's advocate for a quick second? Because I don't think this is valid, but I think it's a perspective that we might want to consider as far as critics go. Sure. Okay. Sure. Let's pretend that we're talking about a guy that works for a newspaper and actually sees everything and is paid to see everything, and has made their career on this, went to school for this and all that. Now, if you look at movies that are released, a lot of the times, most of the time, when you look at a newspaper critic's top 10 of the year, most of those movies aren't those big box office hits. Most of them are smaller movies that they review that no one bothered to read about. But
yeah, I mean, that was the classic joke from the critic.
Exactly, and then most of what people care about and most of what people want to see are them reviewing big budget stuff like what's the latest superhero movie or what's the latest star vehicle thing, and so their reactions are more extreme. But I think it's because if you're a critic and your sensibilities aren't automatically superhero, comic book, sci-fi, action, adventure, then you have almost nothing to watch.
Pretty much,
and it becomes your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where
I think the problem with that,
You know what this is? It's all this fucking... I had a few people make, you you listen to some people and they go, "Oh, fucking hate this superhero shit." Yeah, like you read articles on it again and it's like, "Oh, I hate this fucking superhero shit. When will it die? When will it die? There's fucking men in tights everywhere." You had, what's his name? Christopher... hey, 1 second, never mind. My dad just...
I think you're thinking of Robin Hood with the men in tights.
No.
Yeah, no, I think that's certainly a part of it is the idea of the critic being oversaturated with the same things. Because, I mean, not even just the movies themselves. There's a great thing you can do, which is look at movie posters, and they're almost all identical.
Yeah.
I know this. And, Steve, you saw it. I know this because I worked on Cap's new Superhero Rewind intro. And after about 10 superhero posters, I got really bored of the big spectacle of all the cast together, and it's all really poorly photoshopped because half of from the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. And it's just, it looks, the big group shots, they all look kind of bad. And then there's the logo shot, and so I got really tired of that really quickly, and I started varying it up and trying to go to more and more extravagant posters. And if you watched, 20 minutes into Geeky Gentleman now, then you get spoilers-ish or a tease, I guess, for what the new Superhero Rewind intro will be. Congratulations, this is why you should subscribe to my channel. Anyway, also follow me on Twitter because I'm releasing little tests of what I'm doing to my Twiggers, as I call them. Anyway, it's a word I'm allowed to use. Anyway, no, so you play that game with movie posters. So many movie posters look goddamn identical, and so that does carry over into the film itself. And so, Steve, I definitely see that argument. I definitely understand that argument. Oddly enough, and I know I'm probably about the only person here who likes this guy. Nostalgia Critic made a video fairly recently called When Are the Critics Wrong? And he does make that point about critics get oversaturated with things. And yes, it's part of their job to look past the hype or past their own personal feelings and just judge the thing on its own. But at the same time, there's still people, like, he opens that video talking about how when you become a critic, you drink a magical juice that makes it so you can never, ever be wrong about anything. And it's like, oh, wait, no, that's actually complete bullshit. We're people, too. And yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I know... I'd like to think that I don't let my personal sensibilities about a thing completely overwhelm my opinion, my objective quote unquote opinion about a thing. We've gotten into this whole debate before, so I won't. We'll just pretend I believe in objectivity for the sake of argument. But I'd like to think that I don't completely allow it to overwhelm, but at the same time, if you're a critic, if you're going to be reviewing something, you should at least always try to leave room, in my opinion, to step back from a thing and just say, okay, here's what it's trying to do on an objective level. Does it succeed at those things? Yes or no?
And I think that goes back to something we said last time when we did Earth 1, but a lot of criticism has to be based on how you've perceived the film, so you have to set up what you thought happened before you get into what you think it means. So I think part of what you're talking about has to be leaving room for people to disagree with how you're setting up what you think the movie is showing you. Particularly when you talk about movies that are more confusing than just the like typical Fast and Furious kind of action schlock.
Well, the thing with that is, I'm coming from this from not a critic perspective. I'm not really a critic. I consider myself as I get paid for this shit, so technically it's true. I'm a fucking artist. I want to get signed with a fucking. I fucking go. I have these fucking paintings that I sell and shit. I make some cash off that, but it's not...
Plug, whore.
No, nothing. I don't... I just go out there with fucking things. But anyway, I don't really see this, the point of looking at a thing from a critical lens, quote unquote. Like, when I look at art, when I look at something that, I don't know, like, for example, like, one of these artsy-fartsy European films, I mean... The aesthetic is very different. Like, you don't go into it trying to, I'm going to tell people my opinion about a thing. I personally don't really give a fuck what people think of what I think. I just, if I look at a thing and I think to myself, that thing's kind of cool. I like it. Why do I like it? Because it does this, this, and this. Oh, that's cool. And, you try to incorporate those aspects of that work into your own work. You get inspired by, the techniques of the particular filmmaker, painter, artist, whatever kind of person that does whatever that kind of thing. You can see it in everything. Any kind of creative medium, you can see that spark of an idea there. You can see where the molder of the idea tried to make it, with his, try to grab the thing out of his skull and form it from matter in the physical plane. You see that in every piece of art, and you can acknowledge that special thing about a thing, even if it's just a fucking low-rent superhero movie. Like it's a machine. Like, movie making has become a mechanical process. It's not like it's done by people anymore. It's a machine. How many fucking movies come out every day, every kind of movie imaginable, and it's just like at a certain point, who fucking cares? Like this, back in the day, you used to have these big films, that one thing that the whole country knew about, or like that was in the zeitgeist. But now, you don't have that anymore because there's just so much shit coming out. The public is just gonna swamped with information and entertainment, and it's just like it's everywhere, and it's just like once there's so much of it, it's harder and harder to see the value in it. You know what I'm saying? But, I saw Civil War, why not? I got high, and I went there and I watched this film, and it was a fun movie. But I realized, I wish I was a kid when I was seeing this now. You just go, yeah, it's a fun movie, and I get when they're trying to aim a little older, but overall, it's a comic book movie. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I looked at, behind me, and I saw fucking kiddies fucking looking at this film, and they're enjoying themselves, and And it became a bigger thing. You saw couples, you saw people that go to the movies, and when that feeling when you feel the audience enjoy a film, when you just sit there and you're surrounded by people who are enjoying the same movie you are, and it becomes a theater experience. That's why I love the movies, because it's that, everyone goes to the movies. That's why I want to make movies. I'm not really interested in criticizing movies, because I think that's, I don't know, whatever, but I want to elicit that reaction from people. That's the thing that I find most impressive about movies, is that you can make them. And it's easier now than ever before to make movies. And that's it.
It's an interesting perspective, the idea of just approaching something as someone who wants to get into it and seeing what it is you like about a thing. And it's interesting to approach criticism from that perspective, because then, all objectivity is thrown out. You are just trying to see what you like about it and how you could improve upon it, or how you could improve your own work to make it more like these professional things.
Well, the thing with that I think
a lot of
really
people
that,
actually,
like a little correction.
Well, hold on. Let me make this point. I think a lot of critics that I see out there might actually be more in line with that perspective, though. That they want to be doing this stuff and they just haven't gotten the chance to yet. And so when they get so angry at a thing, it might just be a little bit of rage that they haven't gotten to make their vision come to life yet.
Yeah, critics are failed creators. Critics are failed.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't think you have to go to that extreme.
Yeah, I don't know if that's completely true, because I think there's a great portion of critics that are just in it for the academic idea of studying film before they want to make it necessarily.
No, and I agree. I'm talking about mostly online reviewers.
Okay.
I think a lot of people that I see reviewing stuff online really do just want to be out there creating stuff themselves, and so I think some of that really negative backlash for things might just come partly because of bandwagoning, partly because of an axe to grind against a particular thing for whatever reason.
Right.
But I think part of it might just also evolve from, well, I could make it better than this, so why don't they let me do it? Whether or not that's true.
Right. No, I can see where you're coming from.
I don't think, and that doesn't invalidate opinions or points that they express. That they can still make those points and have those be true. I'm just saying that I think that might color their opinions and kind of diminish their objectivity.
Hello?
Hey, Connor, wow,
Hey.
that's really fuzzy.
Whoa, Connor, what the fuck happened? Anyway. So anyway, I wanted to have a little bit of a correction.
Sure.
You see, it's not about wanting to remake a certain thing that somebody has already made. It's trying to... Whoa, what the fuck? Connor's being attacked by a fucking demon.
Yep.
Yeah, Skype demon. Fucking...
His profile picture does look very Constantine-y, so maybe you're not off the mark
very
there.
much. Is that a goddamn fucking ponytail?
No.
No?
Guys, come on, just stay on topic.
Anyway, but it's that sense of not wanting to recreate something somebody already made. It's the want to take the deeper, storytelling implications of that thing, the structural nature of that storytelling, and try to, play around with that structure and make something that isn't exactly what everyone expects it to be. And that's the whole point. You can take weird-looking ideas and create something that's kind of weird. I mean, for example, look at this. If you're going to go for the whole superhero movie analogy, Ant-Man, the fucking Ant-Man movie. It's a fucking heist film, and there's different. It's a wonderful Disney racial feature. I love it. There's the Russian guy, the black guy, and the Mexican guy with the white guy. And they're all together in the ghetto. Isn't that cute? And it's a superhero movie with fucking Charlie Sheen's dad, and it's great.
That's not Charlie Sheen's dad.
Are you sure?
I know exactly. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh.
Martin Sheen is brilliant. Charlie Sheen's dad was in Amazing Spider-Man.
Still my favorite Uncle Ben.
Yeah, right? Like, I really want to know the Uncle Ben that had Marissa Tomei Aunt May, though. Come on now.
No, that's true. That's a wholly different thing, though.
I saw that poster someone made. Everyone's attracted to Aunt May. That's really funny to me.
She's too hot in that movie. Anyway.
Yeah,
I like that Tony Stark commented on that. Geeky gentlemen, are critics too hard with a side of Civil War review?
I feel like that's undoubtedly supposed to come up because I'm feeling more and more like, because I don't want to say, I hate the out of you just don't get it, and we talked about that before, but especially with things like Civil War and a lot of times when I see overly harsh criticism, I think there is a degree of people either just don't get it or don't want to get it.
Yeah, I'd agree, because it seems like it seems like when you get that harsh, you're not giving something that's fair due. Like it's one of those things. One of the things that really bothered me with all the backlash that Batman vs Superman got is just so many things that were factually inaccurate to what was going on in the movie. Like once your review gets to the point where you're just so enraged, and like I get it, if you hated the movie that much that you just couldn't make yourself whatever you're doing, mute your mic.
Sorry.
Mute your mic. It sounds like you're shaving or something. Like I get the idea that you're so enraged that you can't make yourself continue to pay attention and not get pissed off by things. I get that, but at that point you probably shouldn't be reviewing it anymore. Because once you start trying to make points about why the film is bad, but you start making factually inaccurate things, it makes you sound foolish.
Yeah.
It makes you sound like you're not considering what you're talking about. And so it makes it sound like you don't know what you're talking about. And so that's one of the things. Like, there's a lot of that with Batman vs. Superman where I'm like, I saw a lot of reviews go, oh, well, here's Lex Luthor introducing Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. Does he know that they're Superman and Batman yet? No. I'm like, well, if you think about it for 2 seconds, by the end of the movie, he clearly does in that scene, and that was supposed to be your first hint. But is it still unclear? Is it maybe muddled? Sure, we can get into all that, but just to say no, he obviously doesn't is like, no, you clearly didn't pay attention at that point.
Right.
And so I just... I'm not going to defend that fucking movie. I'm tired of defending these movies. I'm just like, you cannot make factually inaccurate statements about a film and call them problems. Like, that was the thing. I mean, I didn't really... I liked Arrow Season 2 to one extent or another, but one of the things that made me feel so annoyed by that is a lot of the people I heard complaining about Arrow Season 2 were making things that were factually inaccurate. And I'm just like, well, once you do that, I can't take you seriously.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
Ian just pays too much attention to things. That's his problem.
Yeah, God forbid someone pay attention to the movie they're watching.
Oh, God, man. Why would you pay attention to anything? Life is just a thing that is happening. Why would you watch a movie or a TV show? Why would you do that? It's just...
I think to connect back to some of what Milan was saying, I don't think that, and I know you weren't saying this, but I think it's important to note that the idea of wanting to create and the critical attitude, I don't think those two are mutually exclusive.
All right, that's cool. I can dig that.
I just thought someone was going to jump off that, but no, I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I think it's kind of like an inherent quality of art anyway. Like, the moment you want to analyze it, I think on some degree or another, you're going to want to... It forces you to create, because the analysis itself is your own creation. I think, for more often than not, we don't look at it this way, but I do think reviews are just as much an art as the thing that they are reviewing.
Oh, well, goddamn. Isn't... Oh...
And, I mean, I've got a whole thing about this, and if you want to know more about that, that's what I did with my Daredevil analysis when I was doing that, but I think that it's a weird thing where we want to act like the critics, the viewers, and the creators are on 3 separate planes, and I don't think they are.
How so?
Just because I think they all have the same experiences. That I think it's all just one big cycle of experiences that create each other. Like, the creator can never view their own work the way a normal viewer can, but a normal viewer viewing something and then being inspired to create is just part of that cycle. Like, I don't think that... People say certain movies are critic-proof and certain movies are audience movies versus critic movies. I don't think that's true.
Okay, Steve, let me hop in here real quick and ask, how would you react to that with things that are called critic bait or Oscar bait then?
I think critic bait and Oscar bait, I think that's just a thing we came up with because obviously the Oscars are a thing, but I don't think that that's an inherent quality of the movie necessarily. I think that's just a way we characterize things that have certain types of flaws.
Well, you don't think that people create movies specifically to appeal to critics or the Oscar community or stuff like that?
No,
you
they
don't
do,
think
but I think that's
like actually happening.
No, they do. I think
no.
that that's part of the mistake of thinking that the critics and the creators and the viewers are different types of people, and they're not really.
The thing with that is, it's just, the whole thing of film as a thing, it has gone from being a couple of weird dudes filming things in their fucking, 1912 factory of dreams to just a whole kind of machine. And the thing is, the critics, the people with clout, and the actors themselves, sure, like high-budget, fucking fun action movies are great. They're made every day to appease the masses, but the interior, the hoity-toity fucking rich Hollywood fucking type of people don't want always to fucking applaud the next fucking Die Hard film. They want to fucking, I want a European director to make a film about life and, two lesbians scissoring each other in Paris, yes, like something like high class like that. They like the idea of being greater than they are because, hell, there's a lot of money in this business. Why can't I feel fucking hoity-toity from time and again? God damn it.
And I think I think that's just a bad critic, though, right? Like, I think if you're
Hello?
actively looking to be pretentious, I think that's another problem.
Well, I don't think they're intending to be pretentious. I think it's just a thing that occurs.
But I think pretension itself is a different kind of discussion and a different kind of flaw. Like, I think that goes back to what we were saying, like expecting everything to be Citizen Kane.
Well, not really Citizen Kane, but I think there's a certain hierarchy of film in corporation here, because I think there's a certain level certain films are judged by overall by the majority of people who at least have some kind of knowledge of film. Like, I watched a lot of fucking movies when I was a teenager, whatever, but it's just like, it's that idea of, like, what quality is. Like, what is a good movie and what's a bad movie and what's the type of movie that is a bit of a mixture of the two. It's just, it's people who can see what they're trying to get at, It's a simple thing like that. It's just movies. That's it. It's just to be enjoyed.
Well, I don't think it's just to be enjoyed, but for the rest of that, I do agree.
Yeah, of course. Ah, golly, I worked out today. Oh,
this is one of those things where, like, there's 100 ways to approach some of the points I want to make, and I just haven't, like, stopped and thought about them yet.
Stevie, how are you today? How are you, Steve?
We're still trying to get Connor on the line. I don't know what's going on with his connection. But yeah, no,
Connor will come in.
Yeah, I maybe to go back more concretely to what we were talking
Hello?
about. Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Are you there? I think. Yes?
Is Ian still there? Because, like, he's gone silent. I think he's just sitting back and just laughing.
Oh, he may. But is Connor there? Because I heard him there for a second.
Connor, you fucking Constantine-looking bastard, where are you?
Okay, I don't think he's here. But
He's gone.
to get back to more concretely to the whole extreme reaction thing. I mean, I do have extreme reactions. Like, I do legitimately think Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice is one of the worst films ever made. I think it's just fucking awful. But that kind of extreme reaction has forced me to, like, create different types of criticism and different types of, like, different things I want to write and compare it to and explain why I feel that way. I still don't think, though, that movies that bad, movies like God's Not Dead, movies like Batman vs. Superman, movies like Catwoman are a dime a dozen. I don't think that movies that really warrant extreme reactions happen as often as people want to think they do. Because more often than not, you are right. It is the culture machine. It is just Hollywood pumps out 80% of the movies we see just to keep the income flowing, and then the other things are like the highbrow art or not. And when you see things in that way, you look at like all the crappy romantic comedies that come out. None of those are meant to be like dog shit or meant to be brilliant. They're just kind of there, and the reviews for them are just kind of there. Like they don't have the same kind of extreme reactions that we're talking about. But it's because they're just so kind of there that no one bothers to talk about them, and so we kind of think that all we get are extreme reactions. Because I don't know about you, but no one stopped and watched that crappy Neighbors movie.
What Neighbors?
Exactly.
What the fucking the big fat Jew boy with the Australian wife?
I have no idea. But it's just one of those movies that was out that no one saw.
Yeah.
Okay,
or like The Darkness. Maybe a better example is The Darkness, which just came out for Friday the 13th, was just another generic horror movie that's not horrible, and it isn't good either. It's just there.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot more bullshit. You can tell what's good and what's not. There's a certain level of mediocrity that's in the cinema sphere right now. It's just
certain level of created, necessary mediocrity from the culture industry perspective.
Yeah, it's the shit that just gets made because it needs to get made, and people need have money involved in the whatever. Okay, we got this guy, that guy. Make a fucking movie about whatever. I need the money by fucking Tuesday. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
you know that thing. It's just a movie that's not really aiming to be anything, not even popcorn entertainment of the lowest order. You know, it's just. Sometimes people just say, hey, fucking, it's spring, make a film with a guy and a girl, and they fucking hate each other, but then they like each other, and then they fuck, and then they break up, and they come back together again, and then they fuck, and everything's happy by the end. Yep, the woman is happy, the guy gets a blowjob at home, and it's all good, you know? Just make one of those. Here's some money. I expect three times that much in the next few years.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's essentially what those movies are.
Yeah. I'm back, by the way. Sorry, guys.
Let's go. It was weird because Connor came in and then out, and then you were gone, so we just had to keep going somehow.
Yeah, I just left you to sink or swim on your own, and you failed.
We did fail. We were like that really crappy Pokemon that turns into Gyarados.
What the fuck?
What is that thing called? Magikarp. Like
that even mean? What the fuck? Did you just make a Pokemon?
A Magikarp can get hit with like a ton of shit, and all he does is faint.
This is true. Magikarp
are adorable.
Anyway.
Oh my god.
No, I think that there is something to that. That there's just a lot of movies. The majority of movies that we see are just meant to be, you know, passable entertainment.
Right.
Like they are meant to be
the
kind of thing that you're bored on a Saturday night, you got a date, and so you go out to see a movie and know what's playing. Well, we don't really want to see like anything dark, and we don't want to sit in the theater for 3 hours, so let's just go watch this, you know, stupid romantic comedy. It'll be good for a few laughs. But then again, it gets to this thing where critics will watch these things, and I hear critics do this shit all the time. They're like, oh, it's just another one of these Hollywood garbage, predictable laughs that aren't funny, laughs that they don't earn. I don't understand the concept of a laugh that you didn't earn. If people laughed at a joke that was made in the movie, then that was an earned laugh. I don't understand the concept that someone doesn't earn a laugh that people got. That doesn't make any kind of logical sense to me. So I still think like even when movies are just okay, just basic borderline, you know, simple fucking flick where there's nothing that's wrong with it that isn't wrong with a million other movies.
Yeah.
I don't understand the idea of just ripping them to shreds. at that point, I legitimately feel like you have an axe to grind, and honestly, you need to go take care of yourself and deal with your own problems and stop, transferring your problems onto this film. Like, you ever read a review like that where you almost feel like someone's working out their own stuff?
Yes, so many times.
Like someone's like, oh, the dad just sits there on the couch and he obviously doesn't give a shit about his kids because he didn't come to their graduation. It's like, where did that plot deal come from? I don't feel like I saw the same movie this person saw.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it does sometimes go back to just the idea of you're getting paid to watch everything, and when you get to that point, at first it's great, and then at other points it's just exhausting. It's kind of like that idea of if you love something, don't take a class about it.
And Steve, what movie franchise did you have that with? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can anyone hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, that was weird. Did you answer my question?
Well, you had a question?
Yeah, what movie franchise did you have that reaction to?
Have what reaction? Sorry, I think we, lagged out. I don't know what the context is anymore.
You talked about if you love something, don't take a class on it. What movie franchise did you have that reaction to?
Dark Knight trilogy. Yes, I took a class on that. Now I just don't give a shit about those movies anymore. Yeah, it is one of those. It's one of those things where, if you're sitting there and you're taking something that used to be your hobby, that used to be your passion, and turning it into your main source of income, and then losing the thing that you used as escapism, losing the thing that you used as the way you relaxed every night, then there are moments where you would break down a little bit. I think Roger Ebert, as good of a critic as he was for the most part, I disagreed with him a lot, but as fair as he was for the most part, there were periods where, clearly, he just doesn't give a shit about this type of movie, and he's acting like this is the worst case of it.
Yeah. I noticed that with a lot of his reviews where he just would freak on something, and I just never understood it. People love him to death. I just don't care.
I don't know.
I didn't grow up watching his show, so I just never cared.
Yeah.
And I don't care what effect he's had on the world of criticism since. It's whatever. I don't care about the effect. I care about the result. Or I don't care about the person. I care about the result. So yeah, I think Ebert had that a lot though. That's all over the fucking place with his reviews. And so I guess the other question is, when did this kind of reaction start? Or has it just gotten more prevalent? Has it always been there and now it's just more prevalent?
People
See,
just
I've been wanting to pick down.
Look, I got an answer for this. People like certain kinds of movies, and they dislike others, and they just fucking, everyone has that. You have certain movies that you fucking hate. I have certain movies that I love, that you hate, or that you hate that I love, or whatever, vice versa, whatever. It's just like everyone has, have different tastes, and sometimes, regardless of whether that person has the moniker of critic labeled above their head, it's just a guy telling us what he thinks about a movie. That's about it. That's just like, oh, I'm important man. Here's my opinion about a film. And if he brings up some good points, sure, that's all right. But if it's just like, and this is my opinion, good for you. Whatever. Everyone has their opinion, and, they're fucking welcome to it. I don't give a shit.
I feel like that's being too relative, though.
Well, I guess it is.
But that's my thing, is, I don't think it's the case that every single review is just a matter of taste.
I disagree. I think it is.
I don't think that's true at all. I really don't. I think that's just acting like art is not as ethically and humanely as important as it is. Because if it was just that relative, we wouldn't have the same kind of extreme reactions to it that we do. We wouldn't have the same kind of social impact of it that we do. The whole idea of studying art would not be a thing if it was just that relative.
Well, the thing with that is, it's quantum physics. It's two at the same time. You know, it's both kind of worthless and the most important thing we can do. And it's double think. I completely agree, but it's a double think that makes sense in a weird way, because you know, you got to acknowledge that most of this shit is quite, you know, pointless, but then again, it's people making art. They're putting their effort into telling a story or to create something beautiful for the sake of it being beautiful or ugly or marketable or whatever. People just make things.
No, I mean, I get that. I just don't think that, like, everything comes down to simple taste, especially when we're talking about, like, criticism. Like, criticism is not just inherently, I like this kind of thing and it isn't that kind of thing. Criticism is, this is what it is, this is how well it's able to accomplish what it is. And I don't think that's relative. I think it's relative as to how big or small problems are for a person. Like, there are, if you go back and you watch The Dark Knight, there are things with that story that are either contrived or convenient, but for most people that doesn't matter. But to be objective about it, you still have to acknowledge that they're there. It's just relative as to how much it bothers you. Not that it's a problem.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that line of thought. That you can remove yourself to some extent and go, okay, well, like, this is what I do with all the fucking Marvel movies, because everyone treats those like those are solid bricks of gold. And I'm like, okay, guys, I know we all love them. Believe me, I love it too. But maybe if I just point out this one thing, then we can all acknowledge that they're not perfect, which is actually a good thing, because it gives them room to improve. But the second you do that, my God, the internet turns on you.
I mean, I did a whole video about that, about, like, Dark Knight Rises and Avengers, and for some reason there's this extreme reaction to, no, you're not allowed to criticize the one thing that I love for reasons.
Yeah, I'm just
look, people like that. I read this book called Burning the Candle at Two Ends. It's about the teacher who was, it's basically the retelling of a real true story of this guy who was in the Columbine shootings. He was one of the teachers, and he said, the weirdest thing he said that made me laugh so hard is, like, this was back in the early '90s, and he had a computer. And he would just sit, he just went through a divorce, and he would just sit and make fucking lists of things, like his favorite rock bands, over and over and over again, and he just talked to random strangers on the internet. And he said, like, making lists on, this is an exact quote, making lists on the internet is the saddest thing any human being can do. And
so WatchMojo.com is just repressed motherfuckers.
Oh,
depressed motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh God! Like it's just like the internet makes lists of things, and it's the most horrifying thing in the world. Just like, no, whenever I come onto this fucking thing, it scares the shit out of me.
No, I get what you're getting at, though. The idea
it's like
that
Crooked Little Vein, the fucking thing. Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, God, Crooked Little Vein, don't remind me of that fucking book. That book is batshit crazy. Anyway, shit, now all I can think about is lizard Godzilla porn and fucking people, heroin addicts shitting on hotel beds. Christ. And the fucking saline solution. Oh, fuck you, Milan. God damn it.
The sticking like salt water in the balls was my favorite. That made me cry.
Oh God.
People.
Oh, Christ.
That all exists. People, every single horrible thing of that thing is real.
I entirely believe that all Warren Ellis did was go on the internet and look up really bizarre fetishes.
And the thing is, people would send him that shit. They would just send him that horrible shit because he was Warren Ellis. Transmetropolitan. I'm on the internet. And, like, people would just send him horrible shit. Just like, he's a dead baby. I got it from fucking this and that. And it's like, oh, it's my dead baby. I'm burying it. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And
okay, please,
shit.
can we stop? Can we stop on the Warren Ellis train? Steve, for the love of God, get us out of this hole that Milan just dug.
Okay, so the other thing I want to mention is I think we kind of, like, breed this mentality of extremism where the number of Rotten Tomatoes is significant of the aggregate of positive reviews to negative reviews, right? But if you think about it, it's really just, is there a tomato or is there a splat to show it's rotten? Is it good or is it bad? If you go on YouTube, it's thumbs up or thumbs down.
I so miss the stars.
I do too. It's the whole thing of things can't be in between. They're either good or they're bad. It's just, for some reason, the internet has changed its language to where something can't be just in the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what started this thing, but it's certainly contributing to its longevity.
It's that like or dislike thing. And here we go once again with Roger Ebert. Make sure to like or you give the 2 thumbs up kind of situation. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, when did this lose any subtlety? Why does everything have to be just mass marketed? Like it is, once again, getting to the idea of brevity. Brevity is somehow more important than nuance. It's like, did you like it? Well, I had a varied opinion. There were things about it that I liked. There were things about it I didn't like. But ultimately, I don't know. I think I came down kind of middle ground. I was like, oh, fuck you. You don't even have an opinion on this movie. No, I actually have a very complex and nuanced opinion. No, fuck you. Hey, you. Did you like it or did you not like it? It was garbage. Yes. Tell me what you think. Or it was the greatest thing ever. Yes. Tell me why it's the greatest thing ever. Validate my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't give me an interesting opinion to consider. Why the fuck would I want that?
That's part of why I like Jeremy Johns' rating system as much as I do, because like or hate his reviews, I love that his like quote-unquote star system is just an encapsulation of the experience that's consistent with the argument he's making about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing, is like, I don't like ratings. I don't like the idea of 1 to 5 stars, 1 to 4, or 1 to 10, because at the end of the day, people just look at that number and see how high or low it is, when really the point of that is relative to everything I laid out for what this specific idea or film or book demanded, here's how much of that it met. And so a 2-star movie for something, like say if I give a review of Dark Knight Rises 2 stars, that is no way comparable to a 5-star review of something else or a 1-star review of something else. It's completely relative to that one thing, but we act like it's all universal.
Yeah, and so once again, when did everything have to be Citizen Kane?
Yep.
Is the problem with this narrowed perspective of no nuance, no subtlety, nothing, it's got to be good or it's got to be bad. When you take that perspective, either everything has to be Citizen Kane, or everything has to be, I don't fucking know, what's Rob Schneider's latest movie?
I'm not even sure.
Norm of the North. Everything has to be Norm of the North or Citizen fucking Kane.
Yeah.
And, like, when you do that, you just throw away so much. You throw away things that people love. When you do that, you have to throw away Star Wars. Star Wars then has to be shit. Because that movie has so many problems, and no matter how much you connect with the emotion and the special effects, no matter how much you connect with all that stuff, there are gigantic fucking plot holes. There's really awkward acting in scenes. There's kind of dated special effects if you look at the old versions, and there's shitty 90s CGI if you look at the new versions.
Yeah. So
there's no way you can keep that and put it up with Citizen Kane. You have to then throw it away, and that's stupid. Anyone that would make that's the thing, is it's reductio ad absurdum. When you make that argument, this is the exact argument you're making, and that's stupid as balls.
No, I mean I absolutely agree with you. Part of it also goes into how much you enjoy a movie, how much you review it, does certainly play into how much of it is playing for you personally. Like for example, if you're a dog person and you watch John Wick and you love that movie, but part of the reason you love it more than anyone else is because you're a dog person, you saw that dog die and you can relate to the extreme reaction John has in the movie. That's one thing, right? That's setting up your opinion. That's setting up the reason you have the problems you do and the reason you have the pros that you do. While those pros and cons may be universal to a degree, how much they matter for you, like I said before, depend on that personal connection. But no, we don't want to talk about it like that. We don't want to talk about what my mindset was going in and what it is going out. We want to say, is it good or is it bad, and is that how everyone should treat it?
You know, I'm gonna make
Like,
a
I've
point
got
here.
lots of problems with Civil War. I think Civil War is a movie that has holes in lots of particular places, but I still think it's fucking brilliant. And it's
Yes,
still a matter
yeah.
it's still a matter of setting up where that mentality comes from and why you're saying that, not just simply it's brilliant or it's bad.
Yeah, the thing with that is, it's when I hear like two Americans talk about, you know, thinking in, you know, in a good way, it impresses me. I'm like, wow. Because you look at your political system and like what's going on over there, and it's the most divisive thing ever, apparently. And
Yeah.
it's retarded. But you guys are like fucking, oh my god, they can actually process an idea and fully comprehend and appreciate it. I'm like, damn, for Americans, that's so impressive. Bravo.
Thanks.
Oh my god, you guys are delightful. I love you. Oh, you are the best.
That does raise an interesting point, though, because this doesn't just sit in, you know, our opinions on media.
Yeah.
This seems to be maybe a generational thing where it's infected everything from media opinions to politics to work performances. I wonder when it'll get to grades to where every class is pass or fail.
Yeah.
Which is just a horrifying system, by the way.
No, it
like just
absolutely is.
conceptually.
And I mean, to your point already, lots of, particularly with ones that are like more writing focused as opposed to like numerical or hard science, but a lot of graduate programs now are do nothing the whole semester, write one paper at the end, you either pass or you don't.
What a fucking roll of the dice. Or not even roll of the dice, because that implies 1/6. What a fucking flip of a coin.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, particularly for graduate programs, particularly for the whole idea of you want to go beyond your own capacity right now, and you're going to make it that simplistic.
That's crazy to me, that things have just gotten to this point of, what's the word, duality?
Dichotomy?
Dichotomy, yeah, that's a good way. Or a good word. Yeah, it's just like, what happened to nuance? Where did it go? I don't understand why we lost subtlety. And it's weird because a lot of the things that people praise and love to death have a lot of things that are nuanced and subtle about them.
Yeah.
So when I see people praise those properties, to get this back to media, when I see people praise those properties, I can't understand how they don't take the lessons that those movies are teaching you about the importance of a nuanced or subtle element in your plot or in your visual spectrum or something. I don't see how you don't take that lesson and move on to and apply it to other things in your life.
people just
If you love it this much and it has this profound effect on you, I don't understand how you don't allow it to affect you in your day to day.
Yeah.
People just like being told what to do. Being told what to do. Like there's a communist party in America now. Like, full-on communists, They fucking have red flags with sickles and shit. I mean, and it's like fucking, I look at that shit and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna start a cult, I'm just like, oh, goody. Like for a psychopath like me, from the perspective of a cult leader, that is the ripest fruit to pick from, you know what I'm saying? Just like,
the idea
so
of
many lost. I
the
can
idea
gather
of
them.
wanting to belong, wanting to be part of something is what drives. I know you're joking, but you're dead on. Is what drives cult following and just that desire to be a part of the whole is what drives that. And I think that this kind of culture of dichotomy is feeding into that. And that's scary.
And I feel maybe what it is that this has always been there. It's just become more vocalized now more than ever. Because, I mean, you even go back to just the simple idea of kids in school forever, and you want to be an individual by being like everyone else.
Yeah, but you can see the gears now. That's the thing. You can see the gears moving. It's more apparent than ever. And all you got to do is just hack into that system of thought
and just like, what do you want? What would you like? Are you lost? I can give you something that you that you don't have. I can give you hope. That's what these fuckers do. They take kids, vulnerable young people, and fill their mind with garbage. And it's a scary thing, because young people like to believe in things really hard. And if they're part of a group, holy shit, you're not alone. You get pussy, you get friends, but you gotta believe in a certain thing. It's that thing in our minds that keeps us together. We are strangers, but together we are one. You know what I'm saying? They take some of the real shit, the genuine be a good human type of shit, and they mix it with their mind cocaine, and they give it to the children, and the children sniff it up, metaphorically speaking, and they go, oh my God, I feel accepted. Oh, thank you, sir. Mom and Dad, I gotta go live on this commune in Australia, just fucking, yeah, it's a community, we're fucking a communist collective, oh, we're gonna have fucking the Kool-Aid later on, it's gonna be great, That's the shit. People love that shit. They love to be... It's easier now than ever. I'm tapping into evil thought just to tell you what to watch out for, because...
No, I think you're onto something, because this whole media thing, the one thing we haven't talked about is buying into the hype or getting... what was the term I used earlier? Getting on the train, right?
Yeah.
Just being part of the group and I don't like the bandwagoning. Thank you. I don't like the Star Wars prequels overall. I think they're pretty bad movies. They have things in them I like. I'll make arguments for certain parts of those movies or conceptions in those movies, but overall those are bad movies. But I don't think most people think of them that way. I think most people who dislike the Star Wars prequels, or at least claim to dislike the Star Wars prequels, hate them because they want to be part of the group that hates the Star Wars prequels, and they want to be in on those jokes that people make about, this Anakin's lines about sand, or the yippee and the that is so wizard line. I think people want to be a part of that group of it's cool to make fun of this, it's fun to make fun of this, it's fun to be a part of that. And so that's what drives this nature of just bandwagoning is it'd be fun. It seems like more fun to be on that side of the fence than on the other side where you have to defend something that has problems.
Yeah. Oh God, if you just read into that a little bit, oh, what a glorious thing it is. Horrifying, isn't it? Doesn't that, that feeling where you just get like the creeps along your back, like some sort of weird interdimensional insect crawling along your spine, those kind of jitters, Yeah, that's the kind of jitters I get when I hear shit like that. Ooh. Scares the shit out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because it's almost Orwellian in a sense.
Oh, definitely.
When things get that basic, that I know people don't like postmodernism, and you're allowed not to like postmodernism. It's got a lot of stupid shit in it. And I know people don't like Heidegger. He was an asshole. He was a Nazi. You're definitely allowed to hate Heidegger.
This is going to be good.
It's really good fucking points about people becoming alienated from their own thoughts and wanting to and not being genuine with themselves and believing things because they were told that they should believe them, or buying into a thing because you're not truly thinking about it, and how technology removes you from the true validity of your own experience. As fucking pretentious as that sounds, but he's not entirely wrong.
No, definitely not.
One of the things that I think Heidegger made the best argument for, and it's impressive that he did this as like early into the existence of credit cards as he did. I believe this is Heidegger and not an interpretation, but I want to say sometime in the 60s or whatever, Heidegger said that he was afraid of people becoming extensions of their credit cards. That was either Heidegger himself or someone interpreting it. And that is a future that I'm legitimately terrified about. Like, I hear about all these advancements in cybernetics, and while on one hand I'm excited for people with, you know, disabilities and stuff, because that'll be great opportunities for them, on the other hand, I'm really worried as we get further and further introducing mechanical components to our bodies, when we have a lot of private corporations that are going to be interested in this. How long until you have to pay to go to the bathroom or something, or how long until you're more machine than man, to get more media centric in this? I'm really worried about the day that might happen. You know, people always talk about the robot apocalypse. I don't think it's going to be like the Terminator situation that Hollywood makes it into.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a dependence upon things and inability to function without them. It'll be more Futurama, mom takes over the world, than it will be Skynet.
I mean, if you want, I think even the most.
You know what it's gonna be? Everything's gonna go cyberpunk real soon. I can just feel it. You know, shit's gonna get real crazy. They're gonna go like, "Hey, we got this little thing. We drill this hole into your brain, and it's like this little eye stick, and we, you know, get it into your, you know, back brain, whatever. And you can, you know, have little cameras in your eyes, and you can actually have like see."
Okay, come on. Let Steve go. Let Steve go.
You can know that kind of shit, and like what, you know, separates you from the machine.
Let Steve go.
I was just going to say, like, even more Futurama, if you want to go more extreme than that, I think the largest case scenario might be something like WALL-E.
Mm-hmm.
That whole idea of the technology, the commercialism, the material becomes so a part of you that the idea of anything more than that becomes alien, just like technology does for now, the whole technological determinism idea of how did people get around without cell phones? How did people get around without cars? How did people get around without typewriters, you know? That something gets invented, it keeps getting implanted, and we aren't able to see our way out of it.
Mm-hmm. And this is getting further and further away from the topic, and I think we came to a really interesting place on this one. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to bring up specific to this topic?
I do.
Go for it.
For example, like Steve was saying, we're all ingrained with a certain level of technology when we're younger, and it's happening more and more. You know, our grandparents, my father, he's 83, he says, I was around when fucking Hitler was attacking Serbia. Like, he was a little kid. And imagine how old my dad is, and he saw all this technological change, and he's still the crazy fuck he is. And I just look at that, and I'm like, yeah, look at that. It's just, kids are on iPads now. Like, I go on the train all the time, and you see little children, little 5-year-old kids with little iPads, and they go, and it's the scariest thing in the world, because children as young as 5 use iPads, and and they are on the internet, and they're just, and then the mother is just sitting there like, and I'm like, sweetie, get that thing away from your kid, or at least fucking put some fucking safety restrictions on that, because the internet is a scary place, and like more and more kids are doing that, and it's just like, at what level will it be more simpler, you know, like maybe to our generation, like having genetic or, you know, some sort of cybernetic implantations into our physical brain? That's horrifying. I'm not going to do that. But what about this generation, the young people who've grown up with this level of technology? And to them, having a little hole drilled in my brain to have a little iPad stick put in, why not? That's not horrible. Like, they won't have the same perspective as us. They will look at that, like, level of invasion into the brain as just normal marketing. You know, it's like, it's just a practical thing to do. I don't want to carry my phone around. This thing is like as large, you know, as big as a needle, and it just goes into my brain, and it essentially works like an iPad in my brain, or some kind of
one of the
technology.
First, one of the very first episodes of Futurama kind of dealt with that, where they were beaming commercials directly into Fry's dreams.
Yep, I remember that.
That's going to happen. Isn't that scary? That's going to actually happen. Like, you see it, you can hear, that's what makes you so fucking, that's why you guys are so uneasy now, because you know that's going to happen. And that's scary, isn't it? Shit. I'm fucking terrified, you guys. Holy shit. Whoo.
It's certainly it's certainly like a extreme but also terrifyingly natural way to go from the conversation of the dichotomy of critics either being too either extremely loving something or extremely hating something. It's late, I can't think. But I guess maybe to get more off the topic of hand and connect some of that, I think I said this before. I do really believe, and I would always make an argument for this, and I don't think it's ever going to get away from me. But I do believe that art is the foundation of our ethics. That what we watch determines who we are as people, and it determines what we think is right and wrong. And so to take the nuanced, human, complicated experience of perceiving art and dumbing it down to just it's good or bad is detrimental to the whole of humanity, and that would just be my final thought.
Steve, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but I agree with you. You're 100% right.
Woo! We have this on recording. I'm gonna download it and make it my ringtone.
Okay.
Only half.
Yeah, I don't. I only half joking. It's going to be your text tone whenever I text you. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's custom built for you.
Yeah, there we go. Connecting the technology and the show and everything. All right, so
yeah.
do it. That'll do it for this week's episode. Milan, did you want to join us next week?
I'll fucking try my best, but I might be moving. I found.
Oh well.
Yeah, I found this little fucking place underneath the House of Asians. It is in the Asian part of Australia, and yes, it's a great place, but it has a murder basement connected to a toilet and a bathroom. It's
lovely.
Yeah, I mean, like, when the guy showed me that shit, I'm like, it's only $200 a fucking week. 250. I'm like, God damn it, this is a good place.
A week or a month?
A week. And, like, that's
what
nothing.
The fuck that?
No, but that's...
A week? Holy shit, that's a lot, dude.
Dude, that's Australian currency, man. You have American currency. It's different. There's a different balance at $200. But for an average working Joe, that's $200 is nothing. You go to work, yeah, it is, fuck yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just it's weird to hear like foreign money transaction kind of thing.
Our
like,
money is so
you're right
colorful. Though. Yeah, our money.
Yeah,
is so
it's all colorful money.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to try to come up with something for us to review next time?
I want a scary topic like what we were talking about just then. That made us all very uncomfortable. I want to talk more about that type of shit.
Well, we need a review
that's
topic,
an interest.
So, can you think of a media thing related to that?
I'm gonna.
I don't know.
Why you do that?
I don't know.
Something
like I don't know. Something scary. What's that weird could possibly happen horrible thing? Something around that line of thinking. Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer could certainly serve that. Snowpiercer is the ultimate extreme of a lot of what we're talking about.
Oh, all right. We'll talk about that.
Sounds like a plan, then.
Is that on Netflix, though? I'm just wondering, because that's where I saw it, but I'm not sure if it's still there.
I don't know. We'll manage.
We'll just want to make sure everyone has a chance to see it.
Yeah. Either way, we'll manage. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Politician.
Milan.
He was the
Milan. And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.